is going to be the Civil War Battle Starcraft version. Now, if you've never played Starcraft before, there's a mini-map at the bottom left of the screen. It's going to show you exactly which portion of the map I'm focusing on, so pay attention to that as we go along. So here we get a glimpse of the north. It's going to be a lot of troops, a lot of railroad tracks, and then we see two ships heading towards Fort Sumter, only to provision it, not to reinforce it. However, South Carolina is not going to care. It's already going to be firing upon Fort Sumter. Meanwhile, Stonewall Jackson is preparing his troops for the first battle of the Civil War, and South Carolina is still firing upon Fort Sumter. After 2 days and 9 hours of taking fire, Fort Sumter finally surrenders. Now, this first battle of Bull Run is going to be a military victory for the South, but a psychological victory for the North, because it inflates an already overinflated Southern ego, and it shows the North that there will be no quick end to the war and that they have to take the war seriously. Now, the South is going to be overwhelming the Union troops, a quick, easy victory for the Confederacy. Stonewall Jackson's troops are triumphant. The next battle is going to be called the Peninsula Campaign. It's where General George McClellan decides on a waterborne route into Southern Territory and is going to inch closer and closer to Richmond. So we see Robert E. Lee there, and here we're going to see George McClellan being unloaded along with the soldiers, and Robert E. Lee is going to move his army over in that direction to deal with this menace. Now we're going to see both armies not doing much for a short amount of time here. However, Stonewall Jackson is going to cause a diversion and run right towards Washington, D.C., going to be alerting his attention to the president, and an excellent diversion by Stonewall, going to be forcing McClellan to load back some of his own soldiers to deal with the threat. Now, with no ships and no reinforcements, we can attack right into McClellan's troops, and that he does right away. It's going to be Lee versus McClellan. Lee's going to take this battle easily, easy peasy. Stonewall Jackson's going to run back safe and sound, no problem, and this is a devastating loss for the North. George McClellan's going to decide to retreat. This next battle is going to be called Antietam, a very interesting battle, the first Southern offensive, major Southern offensive. Now, you gotta remember, first of all, the North is losing. Second of all, Britain and France have been seeing the South succeed and thinking, just maybe we should be able to help them. However, after this battle commences, which the South loses, Britain and France see that there's going to be no quick end to the war and that they shouldn't help them. Second of all, Lincoln uses this victory to launch his Emancipation Proclamation, and no country is going to take the immoral ground and say, I'm going to help slavery and help the South. So there's going to be no foreign intervention after this battle. So here we see the bloodiest battle of Civil War history. Confederacy loses around 11,000 men, Union loses about 12,000, but they still outnumber the Confederates, and Robert E. Lee loses the battle but is able to run away. McClellan does not chase him. He could have chased him, but he did not chase him. Now, McClellan actually had 3 major opportunities to chase Lee after this battle was over, but he didn't, because he was scared of a Confederate counterattack on Washington, D.C., which is absurd. I mean, they just lost all their troops. What the hell are they going to attack Washington, D.C. with? So anyway, Lincoln's going to be so pissed off that he's going to fire McClellan for good, and that's going to be a bad sign because there's no adept general to control these northern forces now. Now we see the Battle of Chancellorsburg, where the Union attacks into the southern positions. Stonewall Jackson to take care of that army really, really quickly. Here we see Ulysses S. Grant about to make his first appearance. Anyway, this is going to be the Battle of Chancellorsburg, going to be cleaned up here by Stonewall Jackson's men. Now here a very interesting thing happens. Stonewall Jackson is going to get shot down by his own men. That's going to be a huge loss towards the South. Stonewall Jackson was one of Robert E. Lee's most brilliant tacticians. It was Robert E. Lee's right-hand man, and, just the loss of that was devastating for Lee. However, with that being said, the South is still winning the war. He won that battle, basically lost nothing and killed a lot of Union troops. So Lee decides to mount another offensive towards the Union. This is going to be called Pickett's Charge, a.k.a. the high tide of the Confederacy. It's called that because it's the farthest point the South had ever pushed into Northern Territory, and it's going to be halted right at the famous Battle of Gettysburg, where you see 2 planetary fortresses and a lot of Union soldiers awaiting the Southern Army to get over there. So here we see the South mercilessly killing things with Lee at the helm, and they're going to be approaching Gettysburg really, really quick here, and Lee's army is just going to get slaughtered by all of these forts. And this victory is very, very important, because after this loss, which is a huge loss for the South, it gives the Union enough time to divert some attention, some troops, over to the Battle of Vicksburg, where they can convince fighting the Mississippi River. So this victory is actually very big in that it enabled Grant to obtain the sufficient troop amount to be able to fight through the Mississippi River and battle through Vicksburg. Now, right now, what's going to happen next is the Battle of Vicksburg by Grant and the Battle of Atlanta by William T. Sherman. Now, normally, in the real Civil War, the Battle of Atlanta takes place after the Battle of Vicksburg by Grant. However, for the sake of time, we're going to have all those battles occurring at the same time. Grant is going to attack into Mississippi, into Vicksburg. William T. Sherman is going to head right for Georgia, going to be attacking troops along the way, and this is going to be devastating for the South. You see Grant still tearing up Vicksburg over there. William T. Sherman is going to be tearing up Atlanta still, if you can see on the mini-map. And the other side of the Mississippi is also being ruined by Union troops. So there we see Vicksburg going to be blown up immediately by Grant. William T. Sherman is in the South, demolishing Georgia, and both railroads are just scorched by William T. Sherman, an excellent, vital strategy are going to be completely interrupting the communication and transportation of the South. And there we see Ulysses S. Grant continuing his push onto Vicksburg, going to be destroying the last remnants of the Confederacy in the Mississippi River. This is going to be huge. It's going to split the Confederacy into two. The Union control of the Mississippi River is absolutely crucial. Allows excellent transportation as well as splitting the Confederacy. Now, with the Battle of Atlanta and Vicksburg over, the South is all but lost. One last battle left in it, the Battle of the Appomattox, which you will see soon. Now, an interesting story about Appomattox. Lee is cornered at Appomattox, and the Union is blocking his way, as you can see right there. And Lee holds a meeting at one night with his top counselors. They're going to decide later on with a grim decision that if they were able to break the Union cavalry, they would continue. But most likely, if they were not able to, they would have to surrender, and that would be the final battle of the Civil War. So Lee, the next morning, charges out with all of his men. He only has 30,000 men. He sees the Union forces, realizes that he's outnumbered 4-1. And after this battle is going to be over, he realizes the North has superior upgrades, has more troops, better guns, all of these things. The South is demolished. Lee decides to throw it in the straw, and this is his last stand, but they're going to lose it right here, and the South is going to lose the Civil War, and that's going to be the end of it. So thank you for watching.